one where it is entirely based around the opponent he's fighting. His whole deck is built around summon basically special play Exodia. There he is. So he thought he would have this easy
I'm sorry,
win,
Dragon, but I need to just
and it wasn't.
cut you off. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fleet's Random Ramblings. A little bit late, but, well, you know, it is what it is. Life is unfortunately a bitch sometimes, and that's just the way it is. But we should have a nice ramblings today. No point rushing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fleet's Random Ramblings. A little bit late, but, well, you know, it is
Hang on
what
a
it is.
minute.
Life is unfortunately a bitch sometimes, and that's just the way it is. But we should have a nice ramblings today.
Hang on. Where's the feedback coming from?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fleet's Random Ramblings.
One where it
Ah, that's where it's coming from. I had wondered. I didn't realise Patreon had sound. Never mind. Carry on. Dear. Right. Okie dokie.
I can't take what you just said seriously. Of course, Skrillex playing in the background.
Yeah, what a horrible thought. What a horrible thought. No wonder you're going deaf.
she's not going.
I'm not going there.
Listening to rubbish like that, you will.
I'll wish to be deaf. It's a different thing, I assure you.
Anyway, without further ado, let me go and get the questions from Patreon. As I so often do. There we are. What have we got? Here we are. Okay. If this is what he wants to use his question for, that's fine. He's allowed to. But Theo Locker on Patreon asks, will you be settling in at 1920 BST on Friday the 22nd of May for Team GB versus Finland at the IIHF World Championships? A glorious occasion where two lions meet upon the ice, though history suggests the Finnish lion arrives expecting victory, while the British lion hopes to emerge with dignity, honour, and all limbs still functioning. No, I will not be. I don't watch sports on the television at all. I didn't watch the Olympics. It's just
The only
not
sport
my
that's
thing.
worth it is motorsport.
I mean, even that I don't watch. Just not my thing.
Well, you should always watch the WRC because it's a very good reminder of your own mortality.
Right, so, yes, questions are open, Gunnery Officer. They're open. Let's
I've got
see.
a quick question for you then, Fleet.
Hang on, let me just, I think the... Does it work? Okay, so in theory that should now be working. Right, okay.
A question for Fleet. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior, Dagoth
No.
See, he's a filthy Nawa.
Woman, what the fuck are you on about? Anyway, first question is from Typical
You need to
Gunnery.
look upon the heart in that Nawa.
Typical Gunnery Officer asks, why did NATO pick 5.56 by 45 as its standard AR round rather than the 280 British, since 280 British is miles better? I mean, it's not. 5.56 was the better round and still is the better round.
Well, what do you think 5.56 basically is?
280 was honestly not enough round.
It's not about that, it's what do you think 5.56 is? Both intermediate cartridges were basically the same grain.
Yeah.
It's only the fact that generic 5.56 is green tip. That's the main difference.
Also, nice to see you again, Meep. Also, nice you got to tour Seawolf. You're still in Yokohama then, I take it? I imagine they are. Must be weird being away from home for that long. Well, I suppose it's home away from home, I guess. Oh, you live off base. Oh, that's good. I'm glad you got yourself the place you were looking for. A typical gunnery officer asked again, since there's no questions from YouTube just yet. Which interwar or World War II era heavy cruiser do you think is the ultimate iteration or ultimate design of the heavy cruiser? The Counties and the Yorks, the IGN heavy cruisers, the Baltimore, Oregon City, Des Moines, or the Alaskas? I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's the Des Moines and the Alaskas. It's not even a contest. It's not even close. Nothing else even comes close to those two ships as being the final answer to what is a heavy cruiser in the post-First London sense of the word. They are both of them the ultimate end state in terms of as far as it got of the cruiser. One chooses to deal with the problem of increasing sizes and power of heavy cruisers and cruisers generally by going for armor to resist 8-inch shell fire and very powerful auto-loading 8-inch guns with super heavy shells. The other instead ups the ante completely by making itself fundamentally immune to 8-inch shell fire, and instead of getting more rate of fire with super heavy shells, it just increases the gun caliber with 9 12-inch guns. They are both the end state, as far as we're aware, given the way tech was developing, they are both the end state of the Washington-era cruiser.
Yeah. Or another way to put it would be... I guess it's about the Alaskas and Des Moines, right?
Mm-hmm. But they basically are the ultimate.
The Des Moines are the final evolution of the heavy cruiser. The Alaska is the evolution from heavy cruiser to super cruiser.
Not really. The Des Moines and the Alaskas are fundamentally ships that do exactly the same job. The only real difference is the way they choose to go about killing the enemy. They're both fundamentally ships of equal capability. I mean, the thing with the Alaskas, yeah, they're bigger, but fundamentally, you put me in a gunfight between a Des Moines and an Alaska, I'd toss 50.
The Des Moines would get flat.
Not really. I'd toss it 50-50.
It's got a several hundred kilometer shorter effective range.
Several hundred kilometer? Do you mean several hundred meter?
So 700 meter, yes.
I was going to like that's a bit of a. I didn't realize the Alaska's firing from fucking orbit.
Apologies, but the Alaska, because a heavy cruiser has two choices when at its final evolution. It either goes down the autoloader path or it becomes a super cruiser. And what you said about them both is right. It's why I don't like calling the Alaskas a heavy cruiser, because they're not.
I disagree. They are. They absolutely are.
No, I'd agree they aren't.
They're built like battleships. That's the thing. If they were built like cruisers, I would agree with you. But they're built like battleships.
This is one of those ones where we're just gonna have to fundamentally agree to disagree.
But it's why the arguments are so ever present over: is it a battle cruiser? Is it a heavy cruiser? Is it a super cruiser?
Donkey.
Personally, I do agree that it is more battle cruiser than heavy cruiser. Yes, it comes from a heavy cruiser development line, but it's built far more like a battle cruiser.
Come on, guys. Gunnery officers running away with it. Come on.
Yeah, it's a good way of describing it, actually. The Des Moines are equivalent to the large armored cruisers that are obviously armored cruisers, right? This is an analogy.
Like Minotaurs.
Yeah, stuff like the Minotaurs. Oh, what's the Russian ones?
Oh, Rurik?
Yes.
No.
No, Sverdlov's far too modern.
Yeah. And those sorts of they are the biggest of the of the armored cruisers. They're the best of the armored cruisers. The Alaskas are when you jump that shark and go from the armored cruiser to the dreadnought armored cruiser.
I have to fund again. I have to.
Because,
fund...
and I say this purely because they're built like battleships. They were built. Their armor is admittedly thin for capital ships, but it's backed like a capital ship. They were treated as capital ships.
The Sverdlovs and the Chapayevs meet. The Sverdlovs and the Chapayevs, I will hand off to them. They are the best light cruisers ever built. I'm sorry, but they are the last word in the 6-inch cruiser worldwide. I know Tiger exists, and I know that certain other US ships exist, but you put
the Worcesters. The Worcesters.
No, I'm sorry.
The Worcesters protect auto-loading triple turrets for 6-inch.
The problem with the Worcesters is, I believe, I'm not mistaken. I'm just going to check before I put my foot in it.
Remind you too much of Worcestershire sauce?
The problem with the things with the Worcesters, it's basically an even fight when it comes to Worcester versus. Yes, they have the auto-loading guns, but the problem you've got with the Worcester's auto-loading guns is that they don't. I mean, yeah, their rate of fire is acceptable when you're not running them flat out, but then at that point, you're not really.
Are you saying the guns which weren't able to be fully operated because basically they were cancelled out, didn't get the development time they needed?
I mean, it doesn't.
That kind of sounds a bit like what you're saying.
I mean,
let me finish for a sec, Fox. So
Let him finish.
It's like the guns on Tiger weren't as good as they should have been, and they never got to the point they were meant to be because they never were put on anything else.
But I mean, that doesn't change the fact that is what happened. We can't say, yes, this hypothetical cruiser would have been better than.
No, it's not even hypothetical. It's just if they had more if they just actually,
Yeah, but what I'm
kept them around, probably would have fixed the issues.
Yeah, but the point.
Safe reload. The Worcester's 6-inch guns was 3 seconds, which is slow from what those autoloaders could do, which was a theoretical 2.2 seconds per round. But 3 seconds reload on a 6-inch gun is fucking insane.
The thing you have to bear in
and
mind,
that's an insane amount of shell downrange.
I will always go for the Sverdlovs over the Worcesters just because of they're a lot more heavily protected than the Worcesters are. They've got thicker armor basically across the board, I think.
Well.
And they are just better, and they're better laid out to be in that sort of gunfight.
You would want a what?
Yeah, I would take a Sverdlov over a Worcester any day of the week.
You mean the gun turrets that didn't work properly? By 6-inch standards? The armor belt that was honestly more hope and prayer than anything else?
What are you talking about?
Sverdlov class cruisers, built 1948.
Yes, the ones that were...
The ones that have a maximum belt of 3.9 inches.
Mm-hmm. But it is a uniform belt.
You mean the thing that the Worcester has a thicker belt then?
Yes, but
in important areas.
But as far as I'm aware, that's a uniform belt. I don't think it thins. Whereas the Worcester's
does, I'm pretty sure.
Whereas
And also it's also a smaller belt than on average. And
Turrets
even
are
then,
well protected though.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Also, the guns they used were problematic to say the least.
Not from what
Sverdlovs are not a great pick.
Really, I've not had any. In all the readings I've done about them, I've not heard any issues that the Sverdlovs having any issues with their main guns or their turrets. They're mounted.
Yes, yeah, because okay. Are we talking the Sverdlovs as built, or the Sverdlovs of the late 50s here?
I mean, they're all...
Because those two ships are a very different kettle of fish.
Bear in mind, the first Sverdlov doesn't come in till 52. Are
Yeah,
you
and keep in mind the
confusing?
guns
are
they're
you con-
using
are
are
you-
1938.
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say, are you confusing the Sverdlovs with the Chapayevs? Because the
No.
Chapayevs look very similar to the Sverdlovs.
No, and not really. In a lot of areas, they really don't.
They
I see where you're coming from, but as soon as you actually look at them, like from a distance, sure, but if you actually look at them, they don't.
yeah,
There's enough stuff that differentiates them, I'd have said.
they-
Anyway, I see where you're coming from, Flea. It just doesn't. I don't think
Yeah.
quite.
It's
But that's not
12
your
inch
point anyway.
guns versus it's 12 6-inch guns versus 12 6-inch guns.
The Russian ones also, on average, have a rate of fire of 6. Well, the guns that were used on Chapayev. Not Chapayev, sorry, on
They don't get
Sverdlov. Chapayev, yeah, that was you, because Chapayev uses the
Yeah,
Mark
I'm
V,
like-
whereas the Sverdlov uses the Mark V Bis. The Mark V Bis only managed 6.5 rounds per second.
So,
No,
you mean
second,
minutes?
that'd
I was
Yeah.
gonna say like
6.5 rounds
Yeah.
per minute.
Yeah, so the Worcesters
Oh
have a
my
more extensive
God.
armor scheme. They're heavier. They've got faster rate of fire.
They've got almost twice the rate of fire.
I'm
And
still.
they've got a significantly heavier deck.
Oh, for the record, also, that rate of fire is also at non-jamming.
And
If
they
they, had
also
managed
have
to get,
significant.
if they had managed to get, let me finish just for a sec, Fox, because this is the reason. If they actually were able to get the full investment they were meant to, before basically the class was cancelled, they were meant to do 20 to 25 rounds per minute.
Yeah.
Ain't no Sverdlov having fun with that.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that nukes the Sverdlov is my eyes, especially against the modern light cruiser, is it's got a less than a 2-inch deck. It's got a 50mm deck.
Yeah, that is a weakness. That is a weakness.
Yeah, that's more okay. Red Angels are getting through that level deck.
Well,
RP3s
yeah,
get through that,
That's
actually.
that's what
RP3s get through.
you do realize. That's the whole point of Red Angel, right? That's literally what it's.
Yes, Red Angel literally is designed to murder stuff. Does this fit? What?
No, it doesn't.
Didn't
no.
we literally just mention how it wasn't?
Yeah, like, look, I'm not gonna look. I may be going up to bat for some of the Sverdlovs things, but I will admit the Soviets did play it way too safe with the guns they chose for the Sverdlovs. They really should
I
have.
would argue it's not even playing too safe. It's just they didn't have any other option apart from using a 1938 gun on their 1948 cruiser. There
Yeah.
is a 10-year gap between the gun. Well, technically, they actually only enter service in 1949, so there is a 11-year gap between gun is meant to be used, gun actually is used.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no, those guns. Those guns have been on.
They first entered service in 49 with the Triumphs. If you're referring to the 152 57 caliber 6-inch B38s, which is the guns that are on the Sverdlovs.
Well, to be fair, just because a gun's old doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah, like the guns are roughly equal. It's the system behind the gun that matters in this case.
That's very true. That's very true.
And the mechanical autoloaders on the Worcesters, yes, they're not as reliable as the Des Moines because the Des Moines get a lot more continued development after the war.
The Des Moines are like polished to a sheen.
Now that I wouldn't do, Gunnery Officer. I would not take a St. Louis over a Sverdlov. St. Louis of the Brooklyn class, to be particular.
The Brooklyns
would
don't
take
have the
Cleveland.
protection. The Cleveland. Yeah, actually. Oh wait, fuck yeah, I forgot about the bloody Cleveland.
Cleveland, you could definitely make a reasonable case for.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, no
say
thank you.
Brooklyns don't have the armor. Yeah,
Cleveland specifically, because we've seen what happens when Cleveland get hit by 6-inch fire, and they are very resistant to 6-inch fire.
They were designed to basically be, oh, you're a cruiser built during the Washington Treaty period, like pre-London. Lovely, you die now.
Yeah, and it's like it's the same way I'd take a late period town class over a Sverdlov.
Yes.
And that's just because those ships are a lot heavily built.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, a Brooklyn is just not well armored enough to fight a Sverdlov. Yes, you've got 5 inch of armor over your machinery, but you've only got 2 inches over your magazines. and a 2-inch deck.
But-
That's just bad times all around.
I would
Bad
say
times
it's an
all
equal
around.
fight. It's an equal fight, and you never want to take an equal fight
Yeah, that's very
because
true.
a Brooklyn can give as good as it takes.
Unless it's facing Conqueror, in which case he gets torpedoed and sunk very quickly.
Be fair, name me any cruiser that would go well against the 14-inch armed battle cruiser.
I said no. I said Conqueror.
Oh, Conqueror! I thought you said Congo.
No,
Sorry.
Conqueror. I
Yes.
said Brooklyn is do well unless they're against Conqueror, which so they get torpedoed and sunk very
Yeah.
quickly.
Actually, but then again, the Worcester is actually quite a good example. There was where they sort of start to straddle the line between is this a heavy cruiser
Eh.
in reality?
I feel like we should probably move,
Yeah.
we're really gonna start getting into right. Typical ground officer. Why did most U.S. allies and U.S. SOCOM forces move on from the M4A1 immediately after the HK416 entered service? Do they think the M4A1 isn't reliable and the most disliked Western assault rifle by their users? Most U.S. allies weren't using the M4 at all, as far as I'm
And the
aware.
416 is just that little bit more better because it's a slightly more reliable, slightly more accurate, slightly lighter, if memory serves. That for a SOCOM unit, the added expense over the stock M4 or M4 family rifle makes sense.
The requirement literally originated with Delta Force that led to 416.
And also remember that the M4, especially in its early days, is a short rifle for what it is.
More of a carbine than a rifle.
Yeah, it's literally the M4
It
carbine. Yeah, and then a lot of what the HK replaces aren't the M4s, they replace the FN PALs, who are
And
getting
the-
long in the tooth.
And in the longer barreled version of 416, the G36 rifle.
Yeah. They're two different rifles for two different jobs.
Yeah.
Because as the Aussie showed in Vietnam, if you're in the terrain for a battle rifle, the FN PAL kicks the socks off the M4 and the M16. But if you're in
FAL's
close range,
762, right?
what's that?
FAL is chambered 762, or is it still 223?
No?
762.
Really? Fal's chambered in 762? I thought Fal was chambered
There
in
was a
556.
556 version, there was 303 versions, 307s. There's even a short production run of 27 that were built in 300 Blackout when
Damn.
that came out.
Those foreign
And they
legion
were
mad
used-
lads will shoot anything.
They weren't built by the French.
What?
They were ordered by the Irish government.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So I think your statement applies, Fleet. It's just not, oh, those French madmen. It's the Irish madmen.
Those bloody Irish.
I do want to know why the Irish wanted Blackout.
I don't know. Why did the Irish want blackout? Tell me, Irish woman.
Because it was an ammunition type and weapon type they could give to special forces. And in the Troubles, I hate that name from, where dipshit McGonagall couldn't take your magazine and put it in his armor light and start shooting it at you. And the fact that 300 Blackout is just, yeah, it's a good round.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to read off the quickly. You have to remember that the FAL didn't earn the nickname, the right arm of the free world, by not being adopted by basically everyone and its mother. The Americans are special for not adopting the FNFL.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those countries who adopted the FNFL or used the FNFL all wanted it in different calibers.
Yes.
And the original FNFLs are in 303.
No,
Because
the
they were
original
a
fouls
sub-
were in the original foul that was offered for the contract before the Americans put their foot down. Was chambered in an intermediate cartridge, wasn't it?
Okay.
7.62 isn't intermediate cartridges. Wow.
It was originally chambered in for production runs for the Belgian army in 7.62. Oh, sorry, no, 303. And the British commissioned a version in what was it? Oh, it's one of the EM2 users. Fuck.
I'm afraid guns this small are not my specialty, so I'm not sure.
208 British, that's it. It was also commissioned in 208 British because the file in development was a contestant 4 against the EM2. Before the Americans fuck it up.
Yep. Classic Americans. They ramble on about guns, but they don't seem to know how to bloody build the damn things.
You say that with a rune
You're-
on within shooting range.
You're British. We forgive you for talking twaddle about guns.
Chandlerlord asks, random reach question. The Dark Angels Legion, led by Lionel Johnson, replaces all UNSC forces in system. How frigated are either side of the battle? This is completely outside of my area. He's handing it over to the you guys. Off you go.
Do I hear war crimes?
There was a question.
War crimes enough that when the Covenant, if there's any survivors, get back to the rest of them, they go, "What the hell did we anger? I thought humanity was meant to be these heretics." If you have brought Lionel Johnson and the Dark Angels Legion, you need to be concerned. Because this is no longer a fight.
Yes.
This is an
Indeed.
extermination.
Yeah, McCullen did do a video on the 280 pal. That's where I saw it.
Because if he's bringing the fleet as well, you're probably seeing at least 3 Glorianas rock up.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Covenant ain't having a fun time there. Also, at least, like, depending on when you do it, 150,000 Space Marines.
On a scale from 1 to 10, my friend, you're fucked. In lack of other words, I'd say you're fucked. We have fun.
Like, theoretically speaking, at the highest, they could have actually had over 200,000 Space Marines. Hate.
Unfortunately, it specifies Lionel Johnson's return.
Does it?
Does it?
No,
I
it
thought it
doesn't. It
did.
just says the Dark Angels Legion led by Lionel. Which means, no, it's
Which
not
means
his
that-
return.
And that's not 42nd Lion. That's
That's
oh
30.
god, that's dipshit Lion though.
No,
that's
that's
dipshit Lion.
That's Lion, who is the Emperor's executioner. Well, correct.
No, not
He's the Emperor's
that's like Lehman.
annihilator. Lehman's the executioner because Lehman could not be trusted to actually get the job done. For a lot of the stuff the Lion does. He'll have the entirety of the Extinctio, but he probably won't deploy them.
I mean, the UNSC is also fucked though. Because you've just told Lion that there's smart AI there.
Can he even FTL though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warp does not exist.
But guess what does exist?
Flip space isn't the. That's not.
No. No. The T'Challa engine exists,
What?
Yep.
which can generate warp areas. So he can just go, I am just doing this anyway.
Which would be.
Okay, so how
and
can
which
they-
would.
the
Which
T'Challa-
would.
Basically, the T'Challa engine creates a dimension like the warp that isn't the warp and travels through that instead.
Why isn't everybody using that in the?
Because it's a one-off artifact.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
Specifically, what I
no
know,
one outside the Dark Angels know about it.
it's not. Although,
Well,
unfortunately, most of them were destroyed
No.
with the birth of Slanesh.
no,
That's
Foxo.
what I'm
It is
thinking of.
one-off. No, it's not the one you're thinking of. It
I'm
is
thinking
a
of the one.
one-of-a-kind thing.
Yeah, but there was a drive that could do something similar. That
Right.
that the men of Iron used that got wiped out by Slanesh's birth.
And then, of course, there's the whole Necrons just going,
So,
nah, fuck
right.
it, we FTL in real space.
It is one of 3 items that exist: the Ouroboros, the Plague Heart, and the Tuanchala, or however you actually pronounce it. And it can just generate a portal through time that goes back 10,000 years. At will, if all 3 are united. It can unlock the old one's vaults, which they made sure that no one could ever touch again. They can unlock if you combine the 3. You do not mess with artifacts like this. Not lightly. It's how the Dark Angels were able to use it to get around during the Ruin Storm that Lorgar conjured. And how all the Chaos were very confused of, why are they able to move freely?
It should be known that it does have downsides, though.
What, the fact that it's sentient?
Yeah! Your FPL type should not be sapient.
Not even sapient, likely actually sentient. Considering the one image we have of it is it talking through a dead child it has reanimated.
Yes. Like, unironically, I am convinced it's something that was made by the Men of Iron.
I don't think it's made of Men of Iron. I'm pretty sure it predates them, considering it is, from what lore we have of it, it is likely a creation of the Old Ones.
They do have that level of fucking around with the warp and finding out with the warp,
Yeah,
so
but-
I wouldn't
Yeah, but
put
the
it past
issue
them.
is that they never needed it.
I would agree, but also we know they mess about with a lot of stuff they shouldn't
I
have.
would also point out that wouldn't that be a perfect thing for what the old ones had before they've actually built the webway? Because think about it, there must have been something the old ones were doing before the webway. Yes, we know of the old ones at the peak of their power and after it, but let's admit that's not where they started from. They didn't just appear as this all-powerful race; they built themselves up. So there must have been something they were doing before the webway, right?
The issue is they would have had access to a free, empty Immaterium,
But
where you could travel freely through it.
But yes, that's true, and I'm not denying that.
So they more than likely just went teleporting around the galaxy. Like you can with a teleportarium.
Possibly.
And the webway was created because, well, depending on which Eldar books you used to source, and the fact that the Eldar don't know shit about the webway.
But yeah,
It's not theirs.
the webway was
When in
created
doubt,
by
blame
the
the
old.
Eldar.
Yeah, the webway was created by the old ones, but we know that the Eldar just nicked it as the old ones fell.
Yeah, but from what Lilith tells us when bragging, the old ones created it because their servant races and lesser life forms couldn't just teleport around the Materium at will.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Because the old ones are based off the Slode from Warhammer Fantasy.
Yes.
And if anyone knows what a Slode is, Mr. First Generation Slode gonna throw hands with the Chaos God. Con. Jesus, that frog's got hands.
That frog's got fucking hands. He's got hands. Man
Fuck
throwing
you,
hands.
the dwarf pissed me off. That mountain range with several dwarf holds in,
Gone.
gone.
Reduced to atoms. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Potatoes.
Timu asks, do we get another Ruin on rant today? I sure hope not. We're having a nice chill day. Let's not have a rant.
Hey, Runon's off for today and tomorrow, so
Yay, no rant. Good.
Rudon's here.
Yay. I know.
I don't really have much to rant about, but I'm sure I could find some.
Please do not. We're having a good
the fact
time.
that you only get like a day in your own home.
Okay, Dan, quick question.
Mm.
Who would win in a fight, a Unity Smart AI versus a Man of Iron?
Man of
Oh,
Iron.
Man of Iron.
It's not even close.
That's
It's just,
not
I mean,
even
a
a funny
cyber
point.
fight.
The Man of Iron.
yeah, I'm saying it's not even close.
It's not even
It's-
funny.
It's not.
In my
Yeah,
opinion.
like
Because we know the Extinctia are very much lesser Men of Iron.
No, they're not, but they have basically been lobotomized.
Yes, but no, they are lesser Man of Iron because the greater
No.
ones are stuff like Castigators.
Yeah,
They are standard. Castigators are very much more a unique thing. You can't really say they're
They're not.
greater or less.
They're not really. And also the
But they
castigators.
are Men of Iron. They are not Titan.
The castigator and castigators are this very weird thing. They're not what you would call a traditional Man of Iron per se. Yes, they are an artificial. They're not. The Men of Iron are intelligences without repute that can do many things. A castigator is a very intelligent weapon system. Don't get me wrong, but it's not
Fully sapient.
Yes, that's true, but it's not akin to the Men of Iron that myself and Dragon are referring to. We're talking about... Dragon, do you want to take over?
I know what she's referring to because we've discussed this stuff before, but
Should we move on before we...
you can do.
Typical gunnery officer asks, in the book Neptune's Inferno, during the lull between Operation Watchtower Landings and Savo Island naval battle, there's a chance for the USN carriers and sinking Mikawa's surface force when they were detected by scout planes, but the planes' transmissions weren't relayed to Fletcher or USN commanders off Guadalcanal or received by the HQ. What happens if these transmissions were received and Fletcher sent carrier aircraft to try and destroy Mikawa's force before reaching Guadalcanal? Would the USN off Guadalcanal survive, unlike IRL? Well, first of all, everyone's going to be a lot more tense around Savo Island because they're going to know, right, there is a Japanese surface force at sea. It's coming for us. So that's first thing. You're not going to have a Royal Navy cruiser or the commander leaving to go to a conference and taking his flagship with him. That's not going to happen. Secondly, well, if the aircraft find Mikawa's force, I don't think they're going to destroy it. We're not at the era where, I mean, even when the USN is rocking around with serious firepower on their carriers, I can't think of any occasion where they outright destroyed a full task group. Even during the battles around Leyte Gulf, when the majority of the United States carrier fleet falls upon Center Force, they do deal a great deal of damage, and Musashi gets clobbered, and some of the other cruisers take a beating, but they don't wipe the force.
Remember that the lethality of the carriers in 1942, 1943 is not the same lethality the carriers have in late 44, early 45.
And even then, it's still not complete destruction of task forces lethality.
Yeah. Well, it is because by that point, the carriers are showing up en masse. And you throw enough carriers at a task force, that task force is going under.
Yeah, but we're talking about more carriers than anyone else, than anyone possesses. I mean, for example,
Yeah,
look...
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I was supporting your point by saying the carriers in 42, such early 43, are nowhere near as lethal as they would go on to be.
If the USN does commit to a strike, it's going to depend on how many aircraft they send. If they find Mikawa's force, which they may not find Mikawa's force. If they do, they're going to commit to an attack. They'll get one shot at it, because depending on the time of day they find them, it's going to depend on how much damage they do. I mean,
Nice.
like, And bear in
Harry,
mind-
Greg, roll some dice.
and I mean, this is the period where everyone's AA is roughly equivalent, even with, and actually the Japanese at this point do have slightly better AA fits than the US does because they have a lot more 25 mil. Compared to the US is still in the phase of strap Orlican to everything. They haven't completed it yet. Whereas the Japanese have already slapped 25 mil to everything. Although they'll keep doing this as the war goes on. But they have strapped 25 mil to things. So it's going to depend on how good the AA crews are, how alert the captains are, if they spot the aircraft before they're hit. Again, there's so many variables here. It's very hard to say, but it's likely the operation, if the Japanese force takes damage, the operation will probably be cancelled. And Mikhail will have to head for home. If he gets through mostly unscathed, he's gonna go into the attack. Yeah. I mean, how is the? I don't know. It's one of those things where you war game it. That's the only thing you can really do. I mean, for God's sake, we have War on the Sea. We can. It's there for. You can make a war game it. Typical gunner officer asks again. Opinions on the Momi class destroyers. Do you think they're much better than the US Wims and Clems and Wicks class destroyers in their era? No. 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 No.
A what class destroyer?
The Momi class destroyers. No. The Momis are smaller. They carry significantly less firepower. They're just no. The Momis are not as good as the Clemsons.
Oh.
Yeah, they're just.
Compared to what class destroyer?
The Clemsons and the Wicks. Just no, they're not. They're not as good. They're not bad ships. Made a mistake, but they're just not as good as the Clemsons or Wickses. The Clemsons and Wickses are
Six
just
to one, half a dozen of another.
not really. The Clemsons and Wickses are better sea boats. They've got more. They're significantly heavier armed. They're just better. They're just better ships.
Well, the Clemsons, yeah. But for the Wicks, I'd say it's 6 to 1, half a dozen of the other. Both are very small destroyers with a limited shelf life on them. Because they're both sitting around the 1,000-ton mark. So the Clemsons are significantly better. The Wicks,
Right, next question.
Potatoes.
Typical gunner officer asks, do you think the Japanese started the destroyer arms race with the design and construction of the Fubuki class destroyers, which created a major reaction by the major naval powers to design a much more modern and better fleet and ocean-going destroyers in the interwar period? No. No, I don't. The Fubukis were honestly something like them around that period. Was basically we don't put ticks anymore, Ruin on. They're not required anymore. We don't use them anymore. You know,
All right, keep track of where the we are, but all right.
You don't have to worry about it. It's fine. With the new system we've got got it down to a yeah.
I think the Fubuki kind of were though.
Not really. The Fubukis were definitely something that was coming, but if you look at
But they were the step change. When you go from the hovering around 1,000-ton to 1,200-ton destroyers to what we now know as the World War II era large destroyer. Your 2,000-tonners, your 6 to 8 4 or 5 inch guns, your 2 to 3 torpedo launchers, depending on how many guns you've got, your big fleet destroyers, they are that step change. Because would you want to go against a Fubuki and a Clemson? Or a Wix?
Yeah, but you're not going against them in a Clemson or a Wix, really.
Yeah, which is why they're the step change.
They're not, though. Because I think you're going too far back if you're comparing them to, stuff like Fubuki and such. If you're comparing them to stuff like Clemson's and Wix.
Like there are equivalent destroyers in service with other navies. They're just seen as leader platforms and flotillas rather than the general purpose asset. What the Fubukis basically do is they just make everyone go, okay,
6.
well we can just build our destroyers as this capability. We don't have to have them as solely the leaders. That's basically all they are. They're not.
Yeah, but
Okay, so
but my counterpoint would be the Fubukis are built in 26 and if it's commissioned in 28, right? The class after the Clemson, the Farragut's, don't come out until 1934.
yeah, but why are we comparing them to just America here?
I was making a point because that's really you're starting to pivot towards the Pacific Theater for when you're looking at Japanese ships, and you're comparing it to the Americans after the treaties.
No, I don't think that's fair because America was explicitly handicapped destroyer-wise and cruiser-wise. So that's why I don't think that's fair. Because my counterpoint there, Foxo, is it's not because in 1924 we have Abiskand and Amazon ordered, which are designed to be basically prototypes for the next generation of British destroyers. Yes, the A-class themselves and the B-class only start being built in 28, so when the Fubukis hit the water. But it's clear that other nations already have had this idea.
That doesn't stop them being the step change, though.
I mean,
I don't
Because-
think it,
no,
I
because-
still wouldn't say
yeah.
they are the
Because my
step
example
change.
of when the step change is, other nations were looking at building a dreadnought or either building a dreadnought before dreadnought was laid down, right?
mm-hmm.
But dreadnought is still a step change. Those ships are still step changes.
No, I'm going to push back on that. The thing with Dreadnought is that the difference between her and the other ships that were being considered is that Dreadnought brings it all together. She brings the turbines, she brings the big guns, she brings the fire control. She brings it all together. Whereas
Well, none of our competitors did.
Whereas none of the other ships that were being considered would have been step changes.
Almost all
in
of them
the
still
same-
used triple expansion, I believe, didn't they?
Yeah, triple expansion engines. Some of them didn't have central fire control like Dreadnought did. Some of them still were considering mixed batteries like their semi-dreadnought counterparts. Whereas, again, the Fubukis are... All the Fubukis are, really, is showing... They're showing the way forwards, but they're not a... Oh my god, this destroyer is a radical... No, it's just...
That's why I brought up Amazon and Abiskand.
We're just
of-
building them bigger.
The other nations have already had these ideas. Britain,
Yeah.
if we're going off this realistically, Britain's done it first because Britain has done it with Abiskand.
Well, no, they haven't though.
If you're,
Because
they have a combination of
Amazon,
torpedoes and guns.
like Amazon, yes, has the guns, but she's still very small.
Why is that coming into question, though? Because realistically
Yeah.
speaking, 1,000. So if we're going off Abiskand, she's 1,585 long tons or 1,610 standard tons.
I'm going
And
off
on the
Amazon.
road. Amazon is on the lighter end, yes, she's 1,372. But if anything, that shows the opposite. That the Fubukis are bigger, yes, but overall,
Yeah.
you're getting what? 2 more guns, an appreciable difference, and 3 more torpedoes.
Yeah,
It's-
and
but also-
24-inch torpedoes.
But it's also to be noted, though, they suffered majorly because of this. There's a reason why most of them drop a gun.
Yeah, and they've also got a significantly longer range. They're the first of the modern large destroyers.
Wait. What do you
Yeah.
mean they've got? Right.
Yeah,
They've
so
got
HMS
5,000. Yeah.
Amazon, 3,400 nautical miles.
Hmm.
The Fubukis, 5,000 nautical miles.
Hmm.
Now, I want to
But-
point out, one of these is built for a nation that has to cover long distances without bases. The other is built for a nation that has a significant basing network
Yes.
worldwide.
I would then also point out the A class that moves to 5,000 nautical miles.
Yeah, but the A-class come later, remember correctly.
But yes, they do. But the A class are still effectively, we've got the kinks out of the initial design.
Yeah.
We put them in the timeout box and managed to get the kinks worked out.
And I would also point out that if you look at what comes after in the various navies, the big three navies, nobody was rushed. The British and the Americans were not rushing to follow the Fubukis. They didn't build ships with twin turrets. They didn't build. The Fubukis, while they were definitely the right solution for what the Japanese Navy needed, and they showed what could be done with a larger destroyer design, but they weren't really a everyone must follow this way.
Keep in mind, the first British destroyer with twins is the Tribals.
Yeah.
And that's because, realistically speaking, the Fubuki's gun armament
Which
was
is
not
why I say
that
Fubuki's the
necessary.
step change.
I wouldn't, though, because if it is a step change, then
Because
everyone would have rushed to follow.
No, not necessarily because they would just slow on the uptake.
Not really.
Because the large surface action destroyer, as the British were looking at it, as you pointed out, is a thing they're looking at in the late 20s and 30s, right?
No.
As you've shown with stuff like HMS Amazon and the A-class. They're looking at larger destroyers with larger gun armaments.
No. Because the
That's a different
third
thing.
block of the V class had the same gun armament.
And also, we're talking about different things here. The Fubukis are not.
Yeah.
The Fubukis are just they're just the first of a new style of Japanese general purpose fleet destroyer. They're not a dedicated asset for any role. Whereas
They're the first of the modern destroyers that lay down the template of what the modern destroyer will go on to be.
Do they? An
Yes.
over the top
Six to eight guns, which is
No, I would actually almost argue the Fubukis, while they were a very good design, were almost pushing too far ahead. Because we know this from the sheer number of catastrophic issues they had with trying this.
And also, it did kind of, by moving on to these larger destroyers, the Japanese did have to. You also see the Japanese step back to where everyone else is, and that's not even the treaties doing it. Yes, First London does cap destroyer tonnages, but the Japanese step back with their later classes of post-Fubuki destroyers well below the tonnage limits.
Well, we literally see Hatsuharu's drop down to 1,500 tons and drop to having 5 guns.
And the Shiratsuyus as well. Yeah, like, I get where you're coming from, Foxo, but it's not until we see the destroyer grow up naturally to the point where everyone else is that the Japanese come back to the 6-gun destroyer with the Asashiho class destroyers. And those ships...
because it's the Akatsuki who get it right.
What?
And the best destroyers of the 1930s.
Wait, hold on. What ships?
The Akatsukis.
They're
The
not...
1931 class.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
The ones that get the Fubuki style layout right.
Well, yeah, but I will agree they do that, but that's because this is basically their third modification, is it?
No,
It is. Type 3 Akatsuki. They are the third modification of the Fubukis to try and get them working.
And they also only build 4 of them. They build
4
far
of them.
more of the smaller ships.
Now,
build
don't get me
far-
wrong, I'm not. This isn't me, Foxer, saying the Fubukis are bad ships.
No, we're not.
I would not regard them as the same level of step change as others, because also most of it was realized that really you didn't need to do that.
What
No,
what
that's
the IG
bullshit. But that's bullshit because by the late 30s and early 40s, everyone has realized you did need a large destroyer.
No,
With a
that's
significant
not the
armament.
same. No, because that's not the same line of thinking, though. You're
Japanese-
crossing
Because
multiple
if you didn't
different design
need
types here.
the larger destroyer, the Fletchers would never have existed.
That's okay. You're really getting
That's so far out of it, though.
the Fletchers.
And also, that's literally due to wartime expertise.
Yeah, the Fletchers.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Right. I'll put it back then. The Porters wouldn't have existed
the Porters.
Yes,
if
they
the
would.
need for a large destroyer wasn't realized.
The Porters had nothing to do with the existence of the Fubukis.
No, but they come from the fact that a large destroyer is needed.
No, they
And
don't.
the step change to a large destroyer is the future.
No, they don't, Foxo. They come from a destroyer leader concept dating back to World War One.
Yeah,
You are meant to have one of these per basically flotilla of destroyers. That's once again an entirely different design lineage type. It's like how the British had destroyer leaders, right? You would have the first of the A's would be a bigger, more impressive design. The first of the B's were a bigger, more impressive design because they are designed to lead the flotilla of destroyers. They would have better command facilities and such.
The need for heavy destroyers was realized.
But because this
and the
wasn't.
Japanese did it first.
But this wasn't a need. If there was a need for heavier destroyers, why did it take so long to get to it?
Why did the British and the Americans?
Because until
Because they
32,
could
the
have done it
Americans
immediately.
weren't fucking building destroyers.
Yes, I know.
That's why it takes so long.
But
Well,
then why not the British?
And also the Americans mainline.
Why not the French?
And also the Americans' mainline destroyer for that period of construction, when they resume construction, is the Farraguts, not the Porters.
Yeah.
The Porters are the destroyer leader type. They're not meant to be the mainline fleet screen. That's the Farraguts and their descendants. And you see the Summers follow on after that.
Just to point out the French were also doing the large destroyer concept.
Yes, because
Yeah.
they
With the
had
vacuum ends and the agiles.
yes, because
but they were doing it for different reasons, though.
no,
is my
they were
point.
Yeah.
no, they were
Actually, no,
arguably
then, actually, no, by my own argument, the agiles are the step change.
Yes.
Never mind, it gets the agile.
see the French.
That's why I'm saying for once the French were actually French destroyers were actually quite advanced for the period. Yes, they have issues. Me and you have been over these issues they have, but
The one with 6.8 is a glorious gun.
Now the thing is,
It's not my fault the French were incompetent.
I'm going to argue that the
That's 138.
138.6.
you're not looking at the same thing again. The Agiles are a step above again than the Fubukis, as are everything that comes after them. But the Japanese and the French have gone to the same place for the same reasons. They need significant numbers of modern, fast, relatively heavily armed vessels to act as not only fleet screen, but a force multiplier for their lack of, in the Japanese case, modern light cruisers, and in the French case, just cruisers generally.
Lack of everything for the
Yeah.
French, really.
That's why you see the Japanese and the French pursuing these ships, and it's the reason the British and the Americans just don't, for the most part.
And they've got the right idea. Because you do need the large destroyers.
You don't, in my opinion.
You know.
Well, you do, but
The
you
British
but you
showed
get there
you
naturally.
need the destroyers later,
Yeah.
but at that point, if you've just jumped for these large destroyers, you don't have enough destroyers.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
This was
indeed.
shown but in any nation that went with just we'll build nothing but large destroyers, we see this.
Yeah, but that's why you don't just build large destroyers.
But this is also
But
why
you
I'm
do
doing this
need
not
large
the step
destroyers.
change.
Yes, but you don't.
It's a lot. It's a hell of a lot more complicated. Is the answer?
Yeah, it's not as simple and clear cut as you're boiling it down to. Your point is valid, but it's not as clear cut as that. And as I say, there's a lot more nuance to the reasoning why.
It's just annoying that the French made the best destroyers of the war.
No. Tribal class would like to beat you over the head for that.
The Fletchers
I will
will
say
want
the
to
French-
win.
Gears
Sorry,
War
but
would
La
like to win.
Fantastique and Mogadors would like to mog them right
No,
back.
they wouldn't, because the Mogadors would go, problem. My engines have broke. I can only do 6 knots.
Merde.
Help,
Yes, but
Britain!
you're going
help,
off
my
that.
engines broke again.
Come
If
on.
you're going off that,
Now
the
we're
rivals
going.
got sidetracked and tried to charge a
Now we're
fucking
really.
mesh
Now if you want to-
ME88.
Now
Now,
we're
if you
really
want a
going.
fun one, Foxo,
Oh god.
instead, I will actually give them credit for this one, is you got the American Sommers class.
Oh no.
Because those are actually very nice destroyers for their size.
Right.
12 torpedoes, 4 twin 5-inch guns. Unfortunately, they're not the dual-purpose mounts, but hey, when your whole purpose is, see that destroyer over there?
I don't want
I
to.
don't want to. Non-dual purpose is acceptable.
Yes, your point is, the French and the Japanese recognized that need earlier.
I would say they don't.
I'd argue.
They do though.
I'd argue it's to their detriment. Honestly, you don't
And
because
yes,
because the mature larger destroyers that come of the natural growth of British and French destroyers, I'd argue are better ships than the early jump that the Japanese and
Mhm.
the French made.
Cool.
definitely.
Destroyers of the late 30s and early 40s are better. What if you're fighting a war in 32?
No, but
And they're
that-
6
that's
years
not
away.
that's not what I.
If I'm fighting a war in 32, I am far happier that I've got the A's, the
That's-
B's, and all the British ones versus like
Yeah, but
well,
That's
what
not
would
what I.
be?
That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. What I mean is the design style that was started in the 30s. I'd argue led to less capable ships by the time by the later generations of those design styles,
Mhm.
compared to the designs that were produced by the navies that didn't
I
adopt
would
those
agree with
design
Fleet.
styles. By the
Them
I'm not-
pushing,
like
I
obviously
think them pushing for the bigger destroyers caused problems with development. Like
Pizza.
basically, they grew too big. You're right. Well, of course, the stuff from mid to late 30s is going to be better, Fox. That's blatantly obvious to all of us here. We all
yeah,
understand
but that
on
wasn't the
the-
point I was making.
Yeah, that's not the point Fleet was making. It's a case of the other nations were able to use their normal destroyers to get far better understandings of how it all works. And then when they did build a larger destroyer, their larger destroyers were better than the people who had rushed large destroyers early. It's equivalent for that year.
Anyway, I feel
no,
like we've-
though. No, the
Yeah.
French are an example of why that's bullshit.
No, it's not, because we know how much kept
we're
breaking.
we're
Follow
going in
That
circles.
issue with the
We're-
agile, and
We're
then
going
they took it up.
we're going in circles.
So what I'm
We're
hearing
go-
is it's the French being idiots again, and of
We're-
course then they broke it all.
we're going
It's
we're,
the bloody French.
we're going
Yeah,
in circles.
It maintains that
I
if
swear
you
to
get
God,
the large
don't
destroyers
make me push
earlier,
the button.
Right, last point. If you get the large holes earlier, they're going to be less capable. Yes, I admit that. But having design and operating experience for a 2,000-ton destroyer when you're making your second generation of 2,000-ton destroyers is significantly more useful of, oh, we built another class of 1,400-ton destroyers. We think we can expand them to be 2,000-ton destroyers.
That's
I
not how
mean,
the
just look at the shit show that was the development of the tribal.
Tribal actually
Anyway.
development was pretty good.
anyway. Next
we
question.
both know this.
Typical gunnery officer asks, what would happen if the US sent exercise with naval gunnery in the pre-1940 fleet problems exercised with naval gunnery in the pre-1940 fleet problems more intensively than IRL, and also obsessed with night service actions combat by copying the Royal Navy gunnery exercises and lessons prior to US entry into the war? How would this affect the USN performance during Guadalcanal? And do you think they're more optimistic at surface actions against the IJN? And would be more aggressive at engaging in naval actions against them? Impossible to say because we have no idea
Ollie.
we don't know what they take from the RN. Are they copying it exactly? Are they doing a USN twist on it? How intensively are they doing gunnery? Are they over focusing on it to the detriment of other things?
Yeah, but if we take that they learn more about and then go more down the tracks they were going down historically, they learn a lot of the wrong lessons when it comes to night
Ooh.
fighting.
Yeah.
Good choice, Pseudo.
And once you've learned the wrong lessons, it's a lot harder to unlearn them than it is to learn new.
Yep.
I might actually be one of the few people who can answer that question.
Who is?
Next one in the stream in the log.
Okay.
Sudo029 on YouTube asks, "What's your favorite EVE Online ship in terms of looks?" I'm sorry, but I am a sucker for the classic Titan, the face of EVE Online, the big thing with the funny flowery nose.
The
bit.
Avatar.
That's the one. Yeah, that one.
You are weak.
I'm not weak. I'm just big boned.
Nerd.
You see, I have the issue of I'm not autistic enough for this shit.
I'm not either. I just know funny ship looks like sunflower. Goes funny.
You are Marian scum.
These words
I
mean
have-
nothing to me,
You-
Dragon.
You could have at least chose the good variant of it.
I don't know what these fucking things are. I just know it's a funny thing that looks like a sunflower strapped to the end of a pole.
Is it?
That's all I know.
Well, I admit its name's edgy. It's at least the far more interesting one of the Dark Blood Titan. For shame.
Right, we have no more Discord questions, so
Uh,
it's time for another YouTube question.
Yep.
From Sood again. Oh no! Sorry, it's not. It's from Timu. I'm gonna read this verbatim because it's funny. Teamy82 asks, "Panels favorite poke M on."
I like to poke Fleet on about French strategy, tactics, and complete lack of naval shipbuilding in 1930s.
What do you mean French?
Wait.
lack of naval
What?
shipbuilding? Yeah,
What?
French
What's this about
lack of-
Pokemon?
It's like, what do you mean lack of naval shipbuilding in the 1930s? What are you talking about? That's when the French. That's when the
Destroyers!
That's when the French get going again. You get shit like Algerie and
No. Bitch ass motherfucker. You get the Agiles, the best destroyers of their period.
just aggressively. Anyway, so favorite Pokemon.
I love how you just proved why I have so much fun about doing stuff like that.
Anyway, so I do like. I'm sorry, I am a sucker, and I am a basic bitch. But Pikachu is just a lovely fluff ball made of electricity. Must squeeze the fluff ball made of electricity.
The Squirtle and Cyndaquil
Mm,
evolutionary lines.
Squeeze the giant puff ball.
Your choice, Foxo?
Oh, you first. You four.
I've done it.
Oh. I thought yours would have been obvious.
Yes, but it's not what you think.
Probably. If Foxo is not a Ninetales.
Look, not everything
Uh,
she does is Fox based. I know it's disappointing to some people, but not everything she does is Fox based.
Actually, like 99% is. And then that remaining 1% is Fox based, just she's managed to hide it's Fox based. For myself, probably Angron or Metagross. Go on then, Foxo.
Okay. This is going to shock you. Dusk form Lycanroc.
Believe it entirely. Puffers.
And Papa's. For those of you who don't know, I work with doggos and big doggos. And I have a soft spot for Lycanroc. They are my favourite Pokemon in Infinite Fusion.
We've got so few actually, decent fusions.
Yeah. We need more upper space Pokemon.
Anyone else? I think that's all of us.
That was all of us,
Yep.
yeah.
Then we're going to officer ask, what's your opinion on the M16A2? Do you think it's a downgrade to the M16A1 with the A2's burst fire mode? Why didn't they issue M16A2 carbines to NCOs and officers of the frontline forces in the 1980s? We are well into the weeds of firearms at this point. This is outside of my area. I'm throwing it to the Irish woman.
May I go, Foxo, please, and thank you.
Darn.
The problem with fully automatic in a infantry rifle is that it wastes ammunition 9 times out of 10. You cannot. Fully automatic is useful for vehicles and suppressive fire, neither of which you are doing with a rifle. So going to burst fire is more efficient for an actual infantryman versus the fully automatic fire. That if you need fully automatic fire, that is why you have a squad automatic weapon. That does the suppression.
Or if you've seen people who are actually trained with them, you notice that they can get pretty much automatic levels of fire with a burst fire trigger.
Yeah.
I am gonna push
The
back
only
on...
downside to it is the fact that the burst fire system's more mechanically complicated.
Yep.
But when you're basically 3D printing the fucking things that Armalite was doing, that cost is negligible.
Yarp.
But go on, Fleet.
Honestly, no, we're fine. Move on. Any new questions from YouTube? Not a sausage.
Say it.
No.
Say it.
Okay, next question is from Typical Gunnery Officer.
Coward.
Do you think USS Long Beach would be better off without the 5-inch 38 mounts as a pure missile cruiser? Why didn't they put the newer 5-inch 54 Mark 42 mounts aboard? Yeah, well, too fat. There's no harm in having them, but she didn't need them. She could have run as a purely missile cruiser. As the Soviets showed so eloquently, you don't need guns to intimidate people at point-blank range. Running out missiles onto your launch rails and literally pointing a telegraph pole of destruction at somebody is a very good way to threaten them. She would have been perfectly fine with just her Terriers and her Talos. She had more than enough firepower with those systems to handle basically anything you can throw at you could throw at her, because we're in the period where while gun-based AA is still useful, it's not really... If you have as many missiles as she does, with 4 twin-arm launchers of 2 different sizes of missile, and she can guide all 8 at the same time onto different targets, yeah, she's fine. She doesn't need that gun back up at all. She's got enough missiles, I think, to deal with any threat scenario. She might be threatened with, I think. Now, as you get towards the later part of her career, I would argue that when she's rebuilt for standard missile use, she should probably get at least one 5-inch 54. As you're getting towards the 70s, you are getting into that era when small, fast attack craft with limited armament or purely anti-surface armament are coming in. Stuff that a missile cruiser might need to deal with. Things like that. So yeah, when you get to that point where you're starting to deal with asymmetric warfare. And of course, gun-based AA improves dramatically when you get things like the later gunnery control radars that come in the late 60s. And of course, when CWIS comes and you're going to want to fit it with CWIS, But in that period when she's built, in the 60s, no, she's fine with just missiles.
I wouldn't say that. Because the actual dedicated produced strike cruiser designs from the 60s and the 70s all profess the need for at least a singular main battery gun.
Yeah, that's because the strike
And they all profess the need for at least some gun-based armament.
yeah, that's for strike cruiser.
And yeah, and I say Long Beach would have needed it because the American never got strike cruiser. The Long Beaches end up getting pushed into the role of strike cruiser.
I mean, I can understand where you're coming from. I get that, and I would say that for a strike cruiser, yes, you need a 5 or 8-inch gun. But while I understand the argument of they didn't exist, so therefore Long Beach needs something to do the role, I personally feel that while, yes, you can use that as an argument, it does kind of miss the point that Long Beach was meant to be the ultimate, fuck you Soviet bombers, fuck you Soviet missiles, go the fuck away, don't come back. Rather than the strike cruiser role, which was head of a SAG, called upon to engage in closer action with the enemy, called upon to do shore bombardment, called upon to do things like that, whereas Long Beach was never supposed to be.
Yeah, which is why I say I agree with you on the theoretical. But because obviously the general purpose strike cruisers were perceived as needing to it, and because they never materialized, RIP Strike Cruiser 1970, and the Long Beaches got pushed into it. In the reality of the Long Beach situation, they did need it.
I mean, in that case,
But yeah, on paper they don't. But in reality, when they're doing a job that needs it, it's...
Yeah. I mean, the 5-inch 38 mounts are probably the correct weapon for that then, because it's very easy to slap them on.
Yeah.
It's very easy to slap them on. And it's all she needs to bring her into that role.
Yeah.
You don't need... Yeah, Long Beach exists in this very niche period, whereas an anti-aircraft cruiser, you don't need anything but missiles. There's a very niche period from the early 60s to about 72 where you can exist as an AA combatant without anything but missiles. Because you're before Sea Whiz and better guns, but you're after the arrival of fast jets and capable AA missiles.
I wouldn't even go to that. Until the late 70s, until the 70s and the 80s, you're before the proliferation of missile countermeasures.
That's true as well, yeah.
So the Terrier's going to hit home when your enemy is chaff and flares.
And also, Talos is there like, hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, but it's stuff like, Talos, as much as I love it, by the time you get seeing sort of the Mach 2 capable aircraft, flying telegraph pole is starting to show its age. Its ability to engage high-speed targets.
Yeah, it is, but it's still gonna fuck you up if it hits you.
Yeah, but that's sort of the important thing that transitions in the 70s to the 80s.
If it hits you, yeah.
If.
Yeah, the big if there, yeah.
Talos in the 60s are when it hits you.
It's literally like it's like that meme. It's a Soviet Tu-16 running away at high altitude, and it's screaming, and it's like the Talos is there, like, "Why are you running? Why are you running?"
Yeah.
The Talos.
No.
Talos is just.
Fun fact: Talos was designed initially to have nuclear tips.
Oh yeah, it was basically
the conventional tips was a developmental retrofit.
Yeah, the US basically thought the Soviets were going to mass deploy Tu-16s with anti-ship missiles against their carriers in formations, which the only way to deal with that prior to the arrival of long-range interceptors and long-range AA missiles was just one Talos, nuclear warhead, target the bomber in the middle of the stream, watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
Somebody took a Catalina and turned it into a houseboat.
Oh.
Surprising.
Yeah. Does it still fly?
That's a war crime.
Yeah. People can do what they like with the things they own, sadly.
Someone in Mumbai's done it to a short Sunderland.
But Catalina,
Yeah, look, there are lots of things that we as people who enjoy feel should be done, but unfortunately, as I was schooled in the dry dock a while ago, if people own a thing, it's their thing to do with as they like, sadly. Unfortunately.
but Catalina.
I know that, but it doesn't...
Yeah, but it's a Catalina. No one cares about them.
Timu82
Fuck
asks,
you.
Boxo's favourite pastime that annoys the others around her. Annoying me, for one thing. She likes that.
I'm looking at that dragon's answer here.
Well, it's not directed at me, but it's directed at you. What is your favorite pastime that annoys others around her? I don't have to say anything.
Yeah, but that don't make any sense.
Yes, it does. What is your favorite pastime that you do that you find that annoys others around you?
I'm very good at digging my heels in on a point because I'm bored. I know that irritates Dragon at times.
Mm,
It's
not that
true.
much. Trust me.
Yeah, but okay, let's make this actually make sense. What on the panel, what do I do that irritates the rest of y'all?
You do sometimes bang on at me, but it's...
You like to wind people up.
Yep, that was what if I had to say, I would have used that one. See what I
Then again,
mentioned to you
everybody
earlier
else
about what
cannot.
you see what I had
Maybe.
to say earlier about what you were doing with Slayer, and had to warn you about that.
Yeah, everybody on this
cheated on
panel
that.
except maybe Fleet likes to wind people up.
I don't enjoy it.
Yes,
Fleet
you do.
may
You've
li-
done it multiple
may-
times. You've done it.
Fleet
in
may
your
like
life.
it, but he's so bad at it that it doesn't really work.
I've also got a thing for kidnapping Dragon, which causes annoys people.
Oh yeah, it's actually getting a lot of people annoyed.
Anyway,
Like actively.
next question. Channel Lord asks, what Pokemon, aside from legendaries, mythicals, Ultra Beats, and Paradox Pokemon, can cause the most trouble to an Ultramarine company? Which company? You do realize there are different companies in Space Marine Legions
Doesn't
that
matter.
do... I mean, there's a difference between first company Terminators, second company Stern and Vanguard Veterans, and then a regular line company of Astartes.
And
The
do they
Assault
have hero
Marines,
units with them?
Yeah.
Do they have army carters to carry it?
Yeah, it's or now, well, if it's second company, it's now that mad lad.
Titus.
He's back in charge. The boy's back. The boy's back.
Did you just say the Vanguard veterans?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think you did.
Sternguard.
No,
And also
there's two.
Sternguard, our first company.
There's two.
Yes, the Vanguard veteran. I have many squads of the Vanguard veterans.
There are two types
Something
of...
They
like.
guard my
To be fair, I actually only have one squadron of technically two, I guess, because I hit bashed one, but only 10 Sternguard veterans technically.
Anyway,
So
so what Pokemon can
a
cause
God of War
problems?
would be disastrous.
Okay. But just to clarify, are we talking as per the Pokedex?
I
Or
don't know.
as per how we see them in media?
I don't know.
Arguably, media can be worse.
Yeah, because according to their dexters, a lot of ghost types would turn an Astartes company's lives into living hell.
Mischievous can literally generate entire worlds to torment people.
Yeah?
It's called...
What's the paperback Pikachu one called?
Oh,
Mimikyu?
Mimikyu.
The one where
Sends you to the
Steve
Shadow Realm.
sends you to the fucking Shadow Realm if you look at it without its man.
I'm sending you to the Shadow Realm. Bother.
Or just a
Much
missing
better.
note, just knocking people out of existence.
Yeah, but I feel missing those cheats because technically it's not a real thing.
Yeah. Fair, fair. So I wasn't thinking of mixing. I think it's the other one. The alphabet ones.
Unknown.
Oh, unknown. The unknowns being the
Ah, yeah.
unknowns.
Just poof. You cease to exist. The universe around you has ceased to exist. I said God of War is a problem just because it generates black hole in all of your skulls. Instantly.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but Geodudes would be an absolute nightmare. Because anywhere there is enough rock, a Geodude will spawn.
Yeah, dude.
And Geodudes would quite happily rip apart an Astartes.
What about Machamps?
Yeah, you've got a problem there. Literally can pick up and throw mountain rangers.
Yeah.
I'm
Gengars.
now just imagining a horde of Machamps making a massed charge against Space Marines.
Gengars can be absolutely horrific.
Or just
What?
The
Willow
problem-
Wisp.
Mhm.
No,
The
anything that
problem
can
is
use Willow Wisp.
The problem is the power creep in Pokemon has gotten to the point where most Pokemon could be considered extinction level events for large communities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you have 11-year-olds running around with the equivalent of 6 thermonuclear bombs in their pockets.
Coppinger. Its ability to just possess dead things where that drags into its coffin.
Hmm.
And its coffin's
What?
always big enough for the dead body.
And it will
What
then
would-
turn them into another Cofferegus.
Spiritombs.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Because Space Marines, given how much they've killed people, would classify as one of the evilest souls in Pokemon. Which means that a Spiritomb could just take their souls.
Dusknoir, or Dusknoir,
Yes.
just taking people's souls and dragging them into a different reality. Are you about to say something there? Sorry, Ronan?
Just a complete non sequitur meme, so you're good to continue.
Metagross would be a nightmare for them because this is smarter than your entire Mechanicus.
Porygon. Because what do you mean it can live inside my armor and attack me and duck inside my armor whenever it wants to?
Rotom can take over any form of basically technology at all.
Yeah. It's why Pokemon is what's known as a Sugar Grim world. It's Sugar Grim. It shares with a category of a series you might have heard of called My Little Pony. And that's when you take the cartoon layer off, the setting is absolutely horrifying.
Honestly, something like a Tyranitar would be a problem. You know, can literally reshape the map if it whenever they're spotted.
What about
Yeah.
an Arcanine?
What, sorry?
What about an Arcanine or any of the evolutions?
Most of the evolutions aren't actually that big of a concern. Arcanine are strong, but not that much of a
Well,
problem for them, I would have said.
Anything that can use Endeavor.
Endeavor only works once, though. You can't, and if you try and use it more than once, it has problems. Its failure rate goes
Imagine
up and up and up.
Endeavoring a plasma shot.
Better yet, detect. Because detect has a
Detect, yeah.
duration.
Yeah, detect.
Honestly, if you want something that's just annoying for them, Dragapult. Ah, yes, this is my invisible cruise missile launcher. Because that's
Sky Armories. Sky Armories
Armory,
are
yeah.
incredibly territorial and pick fights with dragon types.
Yeah,
so
but a
you're
Starmie
gonna
probably
have
can just be
Sky
shot down.
Armory just go with Zerg rushing your Thunderhawk. Actually, you'd have most dragon types trying to pick fights with your Thunderhawk.
Ceruledge, literally a unkillable set of ghost armor that will just run up to you and slice you with, flames of the damned. And this is without getting into the paradox stuff, because I don't think that was one that was excluded. Oh no, they were excluded. Okay, so but they were going away from, but even going from them, like, yeah, Pokemon has plenty of stuff that's deeply concerning for a company of Space Marines.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, over half of these, you're not fighting one; there'll be multiple.
Yeah, and once that would just be annoying. A flock of Pidgeys and no, not Pidgeys. It's Sparrows, that's it. Sparrows and Pharaohs, incredibly predatorial, will pick fight with things that are way above their weight class and come in packs of hundreds.
Mm-hmm. This they do.
And will look at anything that tries to threaten them and just start dive bombing with DOA.
What I forgot, Alakazam just looks at you and you just go squish.
Psyduck.
Yes, unironically, Psyduck would be a problem.
Psyduck just has a bad migraine day and turns every single Marine's brain to jelly. What happens if you psychically turn a librarian's brain to jelly?
Real bad things.
That could be problems.
That's how you get a psychic to go pop.
Confuse Ray allows you to attack allies if you're doing a multi-Pokemon battle. Hitting a member of a Space Marine squad with Confuse Ray, and then watching him gun down his battle brothers in confusion.
Imagine hitting a Terminator librarian with Confuse Ray.
Eh. And we know from
Oh.
Confuse Ray that Confuse Ray doesn't care what you are. It is just it's that chance of it will confuse you. You can confuse God. Yeah, yes, you can in fact confuse God.
So, I think, yeah. Which Pokemon?
Just sorry,
Good
just
luck.
Rattata getting on board any Imperial ship. You want a super rodent that can eat through pretty much anything that reproduce. Like, well, rat.
Okay, let's
That
help you
now
if it
don't
evolves
have the
into a
natural predator.
into a Rata Ace.
Yeah.
Like, oh god.
And who have a distinctive like for eating on cable, according to the anime. Pokemon is hell.
Yeah, I think we answered that one pretty
Yeah, of
effectively.
all things, a Magikarp and a Gyarados are probably way down on the threat list. Because a Gyarados' strength is it is big and it attacks and it is fast. But that sort of thing the starters can deal with.
I'm now imagining
electric threat that they can't.
I'm now imagining lobbing a Psyduck at a Primarch and seeing what happens.
No. So I've just got an image in my head of Icar Sicarius getting into a sword fight with a Gyarados,
Yeah.
like he does the last Tyrannid.
Yeah, Catasicarius needs to stop.
Hi, Kato Sicarius.
He doesn't deserve to die because he's fucking cool.
What? What?
Yeah.
Arrest that woman!
Have you not read any of the modern Ultramarine stuff post Matt Ward?
It's
The writers
Kato.
Yeah, the writers make him make sense. And he's actually a pretty cool character.
He's all. And ironically, Knights of McCrag, really good book showing you how he can actually be a decent character.
Yeah, don't get your hate for Matt Ward mixed up with the hate for the Ultramarines.
Candlelord asks, accepting the Royal Navy is placed at the top with a lead that's not even funny, how would you rank the Spanish, French, Russian, Austrian, Prussian, Dutch, Danish, and American navies in terms of overall capability during the Napoleonic Wars? The Royal Navy's lead is not as big as you think it is. The Royal Navy is the most capable force in the wars, that's true. But let's not forget the Napoleonic and Revolutionary Wars are a life and death struggle for the RN, where the RN takes losses and loses battles. They have a lead over their opponents in crew quality and training. Yes.
And at what point in the wars?
Yeah, but the Spanish and the
'Cause-
French get continually better as the wars go on. Because,
Yeah,
you know...
is it pre or post Trafalgar? If it's post Trafalgar and the Royal Navy is swelled up to its fucking size post Trafalgar, then yeah, it is unquestionably the biggest and the baddest motherfuckers on the planet. Pre Trafalgar, when the French still actually have a force worth kicking about.
And the Spanish navies are knocking around as well.
The American Navy is a rounding error in this time period.
I would fundamentally disagree with that.
We don't have the hulls. We don't have the hulls, and the hulls we have are too small. And if it's post 1812, we've lost 2 of the 6 heavy frigates. We don't. I think we get 1 3-decker in service by the Civil War or by the end of the Napoleonic era. We're a great ancillary force. We could be really helpful to a larger allied force. But in terms of using our navy to impose our will on at least the Spanish, French, and British, probably the Russians too, depending upon exactly when, and definitely the Dutch. No.
That whole statement massively undersells the quality of the ships and men of the United States Navy in this period.
It's a mass issue, though. It's a mass issue.
We don't have the Hulls fleet.
You don't.
If the Navy's over 100 ships at any point in time, and I'm talking 100 ocean-going, war-fighting vessels at any time during the Napoleonic Wars, it's doing good.
Yes, I know, but you didn't let me finish. I was making a point. If we look at the performance of the United States Navy during the War of 1812, it consistently punches well above its weight. Yes, the British are distracted. Yes, that's something to factor in. That doesn't change the fact that the United States Navy consistently punches well above its weight, given it's still outnumbered and outgunned, even if the British are distracted. And then, of course, there's the performance of the United States Navy on the Great Lakes, where it is an even stand-up fight, and the US is giving the British as good as they're getting. Which shows that, while yes, yes, the United States Navy has a mass issue, but that's to be expected. And they made excellent use of what they had. In fact, I'd actually rank them higher than some of the great power navies of the war. I think they did a better job than the Prussians or the Dutch did.
But again, the question is phrased as overall capability. Yeah. And on top of that, part of the reason why the U.S. Navy in the War of 1812 and to a lesser extent the Quasi-War does as well as it does is because it manages to get commanders in most of its billets that are very, very good at picking fights they can win.
But yeah, wouldn't that also be a mark for the Navy and its organization?
No, it's because they're fighting in the best possible circumstances for them. And they do as well as they can possibly do. That's not to take away from them. But the Dutch have the capability of being better. The Dutch actually do some very interesting things in Asia that don't really get talked about.
1810.
And a lot of their headline assets the U.S. Navy's headline assets in the War of 1812 spend a significant amount of the war swinging at anchor because the British have them bottled up because they don't have the mass anywheres to break a British blockade. As an overall capability, the U.S. Navy is a rounding error in line of at least the big 3 navies in that list.
I will push back on that. If it was a rounding error, it wouldn't have merited a response. Things that are,
Well,
things that are rounding errors do not merit a response of the kind the United States Navy got from the Royal Navy. Are
because
they?
the Royal Navy knows through hard experience that even small numbers of lesser vessels compared to what they can draw upon can cause merry havoc in their economy and markets. So the Royal Navy is always going to have an outsized response to the actual threat level that they are facing as long as they can bring the forces there to do it.
Keep talking
I am
about
probably the most pro-US person on this panel right now. And even I'm saying that the USN of the Napoleonic era ain't much.
You keep
Yeah,
talking
and
about
it's like-
lesser vessels, ignoring the fact that the United States Navy has arguably 6 of the best frigates on the planet. I know it's only 6 of them, but still.
No, but they don't though, because we know what happens when they come up against a modern Razade frigate.
Well, no. Well, a Razay is an entirely different kettle of fish.
Yeah,
A-
exactly. But the heavy frigates are good for frigates.
Yes.
But we see what happens when they come against a third rate or a Razade frigate.
Well, yeah, I know that. I'm not
Yeah.
arguing that, but I'm just
And
my
it, well, it's
my
supposed to, like, the
pushback.
forces.
My
Yeah,
pushback
can I
was on
finish?
the
Can
whole.
I finish? Can I finish?
Yes,
Let me finish.
Yeah,
but you've not
and when
really.
it comes to there being a rounding error, there's more ships deployed to the Dover port alone than is deployed to the campaign in the Americas. And that's a single fleet in the European theatre. That's not even the primary fort in the Channel. They're the backups for the backups of the ships that are fighting Trafalgar.
Yes, the point I was making
Yeah.
was that the United States ships are not weaker. That was the only point I was trying to make. It wasn't anything to do with
Yeah.
the fact that they, it wasn't that whole. That was the whole point. Ruidon keeps talking about lesser ships, and I don't get where this is coming from. Less ships,
Because
yeah. Less ships,
the
yeah.
US Navy has nothing which can consistently outfight a frigate from one of the nations on that list.
The
They don't.
They do. The 6 frigates, they do it on numerous occasions. The 6 frigates are better than the majority of the frigates in the world. They are 4th-rate frigates when the majority.
Did you listen to what I actually said? I said
Yes.
the U.S. Navy does not have anything which can consistently outfight anything bigger than a frigate
Oh, you didn't say
in that
anything.
time period.
You didn't say anything, but
I did.
you didn't. You
She
said
did. She did.
she said frigates.
Anything bigger than a frigate.
I did not hear that. I
Which
just
I'm
heard
taking
frigates.
to mean you'll talk about Razade frigates there. Okay.
I would include Razay frigates are on the fuzzy edge between frigate and not frigate, but yes, basically any 2-decker, God forbid any 3-decker that shows up is going to trounce the original 6 frigates as long as it's competently handled.
Yeah.
And this is another part of the reason why the U.S. Navy does as well as it does in really only early 1812 combat operations, is because the Royal Navy doesn't take them as seriously as it maybe should have, and sends a lot of second and third string commanders there.
Yeah. When the third rate show up, the heavy frigates tend to get told to sit down and shut up.
Yep. And again, the 6 frigates and the other American warships in that time period are good ships. They're manned by good crews. But as an overall capability, which let me triple check myself, yes, is the verbiage used by Chandelord in the question, the U.S. Navy is a rounding error. Individual capability, they are very, very good. As an overall capability, as in the entire USN, they are a rounding error. They don't have the logistics, they don't have the weight, and they don't have the hull numbers.
They're honestly comparable to one of the other forces that punches well above its weight. And that's the Dutch. Who, when fighting against Spanish and French forces in Asia, punch well above their weight. But they're still small forces with limited capabilities that when one of the major navies looks at them severely, get shut down. And this is the period, I would argue, where the Russian Navy is actually pretty fucking competent
Yeah, this is
in
the
the Baltic.
this is the post Catherine the Great Navy. So yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
decent force.
Yeah, this is a decent force with a relatively good core of third-rate ships of the line in the Baltic and the Black Sea.
Commanded by officers and men who've seen action.
And this is the navy that shit canned the Swedes.
Yes.
And they shit canned the Swedes well. They've shit canned the Prussians as well. And yet they're not a threat the Royal Navy takes lightly. Which should tell you, especially with how fortified stuff like the Gulf of Finland is at this point.
Winter Solamina can confirm.
Yeah, it's... The Russians are a very competent, very tight-run force that are able to fight very well asymmetrically as a fleeting being, as a deterrent.
Hmm.
Because Napoleon doesn't take his navy to go blockade the Baltic. Which, given how a lot of Russian supplies and such a lot of armaments were coming through the Baltic, should tell you that the French knew of that supply line, and they didn't try and interdict it.
Mhm.
The Prussians... Forgive me if I'm wrong, but the Prussian navy wasn't particularly competent.
The Prussian Navy doesn't really... The Prussians do have a fleet, but you don't really see the Prussians really start to get involved in needing a navy until the whole... The politicking regarding the German Confederation gets going, and steam comes into the picture. Basically, as the world begins to globalize, any nation worth a damn needs something to protect its trade and secure its interests overseas, even if they don't have colonies. And that's when you see the Prussians really start to get into it, but that's not until the 1830s and 40s.
Yeah, so the main navy from the German states is you're looking at stuff like the large merchant cities
No,
having...
the main navy of the German Confederation and the Holy Roman Empire, even during its period, was always the Austrian fleet. The Austrians always maintained a northern squadron.
I was going to do the Austrians separately.
Oh, right. Fair enough.
Because the Austrians is a separate thing at this point.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Yeah, so, and you're looking at there's intermittent scatterings of North German navies, where you've got cities like Lübeck and Hamburg who are raising a single third rate and a couple of frigates and a couple of brigs that are mainly there to shake down other German cities. And as much as I like the Hamburger Navy, because it's a funny word to say, they were very much rounding errors. Because a single third rate isn't going to do much to help in the Napoleonic Wars. Even 3 or 4 of them. The Austrians had a good navy. It was questionable in quality, if I remember correctly.
It's mainly down to the fact that they hadn't really had a rival in the Mediterranean that wasn't completely overmatched for them since the since the last war with the Ottomans. They hadn't really had a need for the navy, and even then it's basically they just...
If I remember correctly, they were still outfitting ships with a lot of bronze and bronze alloy cannons.
Basically, because it was it was easy for the Austrians to make bronze cannon than it was to make iron cannon.
Yeah.
And it worked, basically.
Which worked against the Turks, and especially since the Turks, up until the Napoleonic Wars, were a lot were don't want to say they were behind in ship tech.
No, the Ottoman Navy basically catches up in the 1700s. By the late 1700s,
Yeah, but-
you're looking at an Ottoman fleet that is majority ships of the line and traditional frigates, with most of
Yeah,
the
but-
galleys having gone.
Yeah, but you're still looking at quite a few galleasses making
Nope.
up a lot of the fleet's mass, if I remember
No,
correctly.
nope. The galleass had fallen out of Ottoman service by the late 1700s. Like I say, by the end of the 1700s, the Ottoman Navy is entirely westernized.
Okay.
Frigates and ships of the line. They
Yeah, never mind. I was thinking of earlier when they were fighting
You're thinking of the
the
Ottoman Navy.
Italians.
You're thinking of the late 1600s, early 1700s, the last
Yeah.
gasp of the galleass in service in the Eastern Med. Basically,
Well, when they
as-
get shit canned in their invasion of Sicily by the Italian coalition.
yeah, it's basically as sailing rigs got more advanced, the need for the large galleass died off.
Huh?
And then you've got the Italian states, which are actually pretty interesting with the fleets they can bring to bear.
Hmm.
Because they've got a lot of frigates and third rates. But they suffer from being pre-unification Italy, honestly.
That's very true.
And that they just can't get it moving in the same direction. You get groups, you get stuff like the Kingdom of Naples siding with the French. While you have Sardinia, Piedmont going, you want to throw hands! You want to throw hands! With everyone in Italy. You've got the Pope crying in a corner. You've got what remains of the Venetian Empire crying in a corner. You've got Milan, who's just like looking at Sardinia, Piedmont going, fuck it, I'll throw hands with you. Yeah. The Italian navies were good, they were just small. The Dutch... Well, the Dutch were, I would argue, the fourth naval power in Europe at this point.
They were sliding, but they were still there. But when the Napoleonic Wars started, though they were sliding.
Yeah, but they did still have the ability to, in the late 1700s, shit can Spain's last attempt to get control of the lowlands back.
Yes.
So,
Unfortunately,
they were still in the ballpark of shit canning the Spanish. But...
Unfortunately, they had this problem when General de Winter showed up, and the Dutch fleet was fuck.
Frozen in ice.
Fuck.
It's the only time a cavalry charge has ever worked against a fleet at sea.
I know, it's great, isn't it? It's literally like the scene from fucking Monty Python where like Lancelot is approaching, he's there, ha ha!
Yeah.
Oh, we love it.
The Swedish Navy's in fucking tatters. So is the Danish Navy.
Ironically, the House of Murat taking over Sweden was the best thing that happened to it out of the Napoleonic Wars. The man rationalized the man quite literally adopted that country wholesale, took it by the throat, shook it, and modernized the ever-living shit out of it.
Yeah, because Sweden never sort of recovered from the Great Northern Wars,
No.
basically. And the decimation of the Swedish Empire, which... Yeah, Swedish Empire is a perfect example of why German and Prussian militarism was fucked. Because it sort of all falls apart when someone actually finally beats you. The Norwegians had a couple of third rates, if I remember correctly. It proved to be a bit of a pain. Well, no, it won't be the Norwegians, it'd be Denmark, Norway. Would it be Denmark, Norway?
Not sure.
Don't know. No, I get my pairs mixed up, never mind.
Also, can we just take a quick diversion? Because I just want to talk about Murat for a teeny tiny bit. He's literally the only man in the Napoleonic Wars who kept winning in every way imaginable. he just kept winning. Whether it was on the battlefield or politically, man just keeps winning.
Yeah. You know the best thing about him? On his side, he had death to monarchies tattooed on him.
And yet,
And then he became a king.
oh, sorry, I'm getting. I'm Bernadotte. Sorry. Dear.
Yeah, Bernadotte, sorry.
We get our guys mixed up. These marshals, I don't know where Napoleon gets him. He keeps fucking plucking him out of thin air. That guy. I mean,
Yeah.
fucking just like
Yeah, Bernadotte.
fucking Napoleon. Where does he find these people? I don't know.
But yeah, so the only the Dutch, I don't give it for. The Portuguese, bless the heart, the try. The try. Portugal, Brazil tries. But I think Fleet will know Portugal, Brazil's fleet better than me.
Not really. I know they had one, and it was gradually declining, especially as Portugal and Brazil continued to untangle themselves from each other.
Because they did have that third rate they made out of Brazil wood.
Yeah, that thing. Ugh, good lord. Probably best not to talk about that thing. Ugh. Any
The most expensive third rate ever built.
and the one that worked itself to pieces shockingly quickly.
Yeah. Because it was really hard to repair the ship made of Brazil wood.
Yes. Anyway, so
who am I missing? Oh, right, the Chinese. The Chinese actually had a pretty capable fleet at this point. As we're talking pre-Opium Wars.
yeah. Timu asks, panel's favorite Eurovision song. Says the finalist tonight. I'm sorry, I don't really watch Eurovision, but come on, my favorite's got to be Le Funny Saxophone Man with Le Funny Saxophone song. We all know the one.
No,
You mean
I
the-
don't give a shit.
And that's only because of the funny.
That one?
Yeah, and that's only because of the funny. I really don't care for Eurovision, if I'm going to be completely honest.
The one that sings a song about the things that people like. That song. That's the one I like.
I literally do not care about Eurovision. To be honest, there's very little music I care about in general.
And also, like, why are there people outside of Europe in it? Like, why is Australia here?
Don't you know? According to the Académie La Française, they petitioned to have the Eurovision renamed
What?
to the Anglosphere Music Conference.
Oh my god, I just...
They're not wrong, except Israel is there.
Yeah.
Let's
not-
The Académie
let's-
La Française has to say that Israel is a part of the the
don't-
Anglosphere.
We don't talk about Israel being in Eurovision. We don't talk about it.
Yes, we do.
We don't talk about
We are right now.
Because to be blunt,
They shouldn't be in it.
Well, yes.
well, if they shouldn't be in it, perhaps because they're not part of Europe, yes. But they're there, so to be blunt, yeah, get on with it. I think too many nations are being utterly stupid over it.
I mean, it's
Ah, yes, this
understandable.
promotes European unity, but we're not going to be part of it because we don't like this. We don't like these participants.
Well, you can understand the why of it, given what's been going on.
Not really.
No, because it's a case of, and then when they start going, oh well, we're not going to even broadcast it in our nation because I am actually instead going to put on this different thing about how terrible Israel is. It's like,
It's
you
understandable.
really? No, it's not though, because it's directly causing other problems, and that's fueling so many more problems. It would have been better if they just let it go for the sake of Eurovision. If people don't like Israel, fair enough. More than everyone's allowed to do so, and it's entirely understandable. But to be blunt, they're there. So by trying to bring this up and making a major point, you sever the idea that this is meant to be, this event that's mostly meant to be we all know it's not, but it's said to meant to be severed from politics, and you made it purely about politics.
There is that final bit that I have a point. Chandlord asks, following on from my Pokemon vs. Ultramarines question, how many tech heresies could Archmagos Belisarius Call commit with a team of 6 Rotoms?
All of it.
That was easy.
Take reminded that without Rom-Tom help, Archmagos Belisarius Call is committing all the tech heresy.
USS Montana asks, how many fleets could a fleet if he could fleet?
He gets overwhelmed after
One
that.
ocean worth of fleets.
No comment.
He could fleet at least one Hosha's worth of fleets.
Words, language.
But fleet's ability to fleet fleets is fleeting.
Ugh, fuck off. Next question. What if Britain had
He,
annexed...
he requires backup from the feet and the flee of oceans.
What if Britain...
The Falklands going to be so much fun. I get to annoy you in person.
Bone Mill Boy asks, what if Britain had annexed Sicily alongside Malta after the Napoleonic Wars, as Lecky argued and the Ministry of All Talents had ordered? How does this affect the 19th and 20th century wars? How exactly are you going to annex a significant part of one of the largest Italian kingdoms that is your ally? Malta was one thing, but annexing the entirety of Sicily? Off of the Kingdom of Two Sicilies? That is your ally?
Okay, right. It was considered because a major duke in England was set to inherit the title of Duke of Sicily. And both the Kingdom of Two Sicilies and the historical English rights and nobility basically agree that if someone is already landed and inherits land outside a kingdom, the inherited land becomes a part of the kingdom in which he already is
Suzerainty?
a serenity of. So, what's it about Duke of Pembroke that was set to inherit it? So, when the English Duke was set to inherit the Duchy of Sicily, because he was already a Duke in the UK, it would fall under British control. But British control in the same way that the Kingdom of Hanover would be under British control. And so the claim was that since it was rightfully British through inheritance, the British could cede it. With the Kingdom of Two Sicilies not having a recourse against it. So yeah, that's how it could happen, mate.
Fair enough. As to how it would affect things, I don't know if you'd be able to keep it long term. This would depend on how their succession laws deal with.
To be fair, Britain would probably just sell it back later.
Yeah, probably. I don't think
A
it'll
bit
be.
like
I
what's
don't.
it called? That German one.
Yeah,
no, quite. That's what happened. The Kingdom of Two Sicilies paid the Duke to
Not.
follow through on his claim of inheritance.
Take this money and bugger off.
Basically.
Yeah, that's a yeah. It's not really a yeah. It's not really a yeah. Admiral Wellesley asks, first question of the day, Drac liked a post of mine on Twitter where I effectively say I plan to cosplay Warspite from Azure Lane. What does this mean? It means Drac likes a post that you've put on Twitter where you effectively say you plan to cosplay Warspite from Azure Lane.
Also, Drackle is a known supporter of Warspite, and
Yes.
also, I believe, likes the one from Azure Lane because they wield a sword.
Yeah. It's not that deep, Wellesley.
Yeah.
It's not that deep.
Don't worry, he doesn't want to woo or win you. He just really likes Warspite.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you try and win Drac, you get a visit from the from the friendly sea main.
And she does not mince. Well, she does, but with a sword. And yeah, trust me.
And she is a friendly Seamon in that she wishes to get very, very close to you so that she may introduce you to edged weaponry.
Or ballistic weaponry, which she also has.
Yes, but this is the UK. Edged weaponry is so much easier to get.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. You can't just go to a Renaissance fair and buy a crossbow. I will remind you, you don't need a license to own a crossbow.
Right. Okay, nice. And that's the 2-hour mark just gone. So.
That's good. Right, so it's going to mean 3 hours?
What?
3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours.
No,
3 hours,
I've got to get ready for Hearts of Iron 4.
Yeah.
3 hours,
32 hours stream. 32 hours stream. 32 hours stream.
No,
32
I've
hours
got
stream.
I've got to get ready for Hearts of Iron 4. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I hope
You
you've
could do
enjoyed.
15 consecutive 12-hour streams.
No.
Was Moe in that one?
Yes, yes, they were.
You're not going to get Moe then.
You're probably not getting Moe.
Why?
Their GPU exploded.
Oh.
Hey, yeah, they're at work and the GPU exploded.
And they've now managed to get a new one, but I don't know if they've got it installed yet.
Well, we'll find out, won't
in
we?
a couple of days.
They were having to be using a integrated.
Yeah.
And
well,
then
so
integrated
you might
can't run
not.
Hoi 4, so.
Well, we'll see what happens then. If we can't get enough people, then obviously we'll divert to the alternative. I'm thinking Equestriate War. Possibly.
If we're actually going to play Millennium Dawn, I would join you.
I'm torn between those two options.
Have we missed a shuttle enterprise thing?
Did we?
Shuttle Enterprise thing?
Oh yeah, we did miss one. I'll just deal with this quickly. Sea Dodders, thoughts on the space shuttle derivative space station concepts that rival the space shuttle built space station concepts. The concept uses a testbed Enterprise as it was originally designed, rebuilt into a flight-ready order using the external tank as a giant wet lab. Once in orbit, dump the propellant, fittings for decks and such built in, with additional docking ports on the intertank structure. Tunnels built into the intertank structure to connect to the orbiter pressure hull. With scope for I like it. I think it's a neat example of thinking outside the box using hardware that would otherwise be languishing in a museum. Honestly, I think
languishing in a museum.
I think while I can see the potential, I think it was much better to go with the space shuttle built station, because you've got a lot more flexibility in the way you can construct the station. With the space shuttle derived station, you have to use the big tank, and you have to fit everything around the big tank, and the big tank has to be your center. Whereas, as we've seen with the ISS, that thing is modular as all buggery, and you can rearrange it if needed, as they did do a couple of times as it was growing.
Yeah, but and also remember, the space shuttles, as much as we all love them, were getting long in the tooth by the time you're considering building the ISS.
Now, they soldiered through and they completed... Like, they soldiered through and they completed it, mind you, but that was basically their last hurrah.
Yeah, the one that launched in 2014 from Kennedy Space Center, which I was in America to see. Yes, that was with wee little Foxo.
Oh god, I'm so jealous. I was at Cape Canaveral when the space shuttle was
still
running.
I was in Orlando, and we were eating at a Red Lobster. And my dad was watching it on his phone, and we went outside and we saw it going up into the sky.
Nice.
And that space shuttle that did that final launch was something like 30% over its designed maximum flight hours.
Yeah, they basically had
launch hours.
Yeah.
They were the equivalent of space Toyota Hiluxes. True.
Now, technically
But-
speaking, this does mention Space Shuttle Enterprise in particular, by the way, which is actually exempt from all of that. Because Space Shuttle Enterprise was never launched.
Yes.
So she actually still has full structural stability and such.
Yeah, but she's got her own issues.
Not really. She's a standard space shuttle, but that they decided to use as a honoring, which I think is a better use of her anyway.
Yeah, I'm
Also-
talking about OV-101.
Uh,
Yeah,
I
the
don't
first
entirely-
of the space shuttles. The one built in 1976. Because the Space Shuttle Enterprise was the prototype that never flew because it was the test bed for the rest of them. And it was the one that did the 1977 atmospheric test and landing tests. Right. Have you ever seen with the space shuttles being carried by a Boeing 747? Dragon.
Yes.
That's OV-101 Enterprise.
I think it was also others, actually.
Yeah, but the iconic images are of Enterprise. She, and the reason that she wasn't used as a space shuttle was because she wasn't fitted with heat shielding. She was the atmospheric test vehicle.
Ah! Get back here. Your duty is not yet done.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, it was a 747-100.
It was one of the early 747s.
From what I'm reading from my book from Kennedy Space Center, that's got an image of her on a plinth on it. She was mainly used for testing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's fair to say that she wasn't unstrained, and she wasn't a fresh air freight. She was the oldest, the man she'd been stressed the weirdest. We've got another question.
All right.
Question
one-
9.
one-
Do you think the planned eventual cancellation of the Montana class in the Two Ocean Navy Act was pretty much useful, because the larger dockyard for the Montanas were later used in building the carriers and the supercarriers?
I mean,
I feel like there should be a despite in that question.
yes. I mean, it wasn't planned, but also, the. I mean,
It feels like a nice bonus more than anything.
yeah, it's not really a. It's not. It's not. Yeah, it's just it's a case of two things happening, therefore a connected thing happens. It's not really any correlation. I mean, the cancellation of the Montanas was basically all but guaranteed when the Axis capital ship threat evaporated. I mean, for God's sake, we didn't even get all 6 hours.
I'm gonna have to look at this quickly.
Uh-oh.
Very quickly, I would like to wrap up.
You're going to be here forever.
I don't bloody think so.
Ever, 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 ever.
Yeah, so Louisiana BP-71 was built in the Norfolk Navy Yard.
Maybe I need to invest in a wet pallet. At this point.
Okay, yeah, no. It's actually pretty interesting, because the dockyard that had been built to build the Montanas would be expanded in the 50s again in Norfolk, and it would go on to build one of the forestals.
So there you are then. There
Yeah,
you are then.
So it's so technically the Montanas being ordered did lead to a yard that produced forestal.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, I guess. It kind of works. There you are
And
then.
just to prove it, I want to check something. That New York, Newport.
I hate Sat9s. They look so cool, but such annoying to paint and build.
Wait.
Yes.
Yes, I know.
Okay, no, why is the shipyard claim?
I'm currently
So
painting.
I've just checked. Apparently, none of the forestals.
Either way, there you are.
Okay. They did a lot of work on the Kitty Hawk and JFK.
Well, there you are then. So there is.
Why is it calling JFK a forestal?
We don't. Anyway, just move. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I hope you've had a fantastic time. Obviously tune in next Friday for the ramblings, the thing.
Errol, fleet not responding.
Yeah. Obviously, next Friday will be the last ramblings for. There'll be no ramblings or other events. Not next weekend, but the weekend after. Because don't forget, I will be in Rotterdam for TwitchCon on the last weekend in May. So if you want to see me, I'll be on the 30th is the day that I'll be doing things. So not next week. Next week is fine. Next week is normal, but the week after will be very different. If you are going to be at TwitchCon, that's where I will be. On the last weekend in. I am not invading the Low Nations. I'm traveling on a ferry. I'm not invading.
He's actually just trying. He's trying to
Bleak, you're
replicate
here.
his Iron 4 experience.
Funny.
Yeah, and just remember not to buy anything, because it will try and TwitchCon you.
Way! I'm not even mad. That's funny. I'm not even mad. Well done, Foxo.
Bleak, your mere presence and love of the host is considered an invasion in 82 jurisdictions and 4 war tribunals.
Aha, but you forget I win because Paradox made the modern ironclad in the new Vicky 3 DLC, Hosh. I win. Everyone's forced to use Hosh who plays Vicky 3. I win. I win. Fleet wins. Fleet wins. Bow before my cultural relevance.
That is because Paradox is a company which masquerades as selling video games, but in reality only sells DLC.
Oh, by the way, do you want to
have been taught by the American
by the way,
Secretary of Health that Paradox is the leading cause of autism in the world.
Oh, and by the way, it gets better.
No, Paradox is the leading autism diagnosis tool in the world.
By the way, it gets better. I think it was Drac who suggested it to them. So Drac suggested it, which means I've converted Drac to the cult.
Where do you get that from?
Oh, well, the fact that I've known about the DLC long before it was announced. And I knew that Drac was advising them on it. Long before it was announced.
Wait,
Yeah,
our boy Drac's gone up in the world?
Have you not been keeping up with him?
No.
Drac told me...
I only watched him to prove my point.
Drac told us when we were out in Japan. I've known about this since last September.
Oh, you mean you, right?
I'm sure they also did stuff on the Scandi when they did the Scandi trip. That was like, this was a known thing.
But ramblings, there won't be a ramblings on Friday. Well, there won't be any streams on the weekend of the 29th to the 1st, 29th of May to 1st of June, because I'll be in Rotterdam.
You will be in a different country.
And while I might be taking my laptop with me, I'll probably be far too busy doing other things. Montana, what the fuck is that comment? Really?
Actually, Fleet, do you want
Really?
me and Dragon to do what we did last time you weren't available?
I mean, you. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it since I will be at. I think. Will I be at sea? No, I won't be at sea. I'll be in my hotel room. I think.
What we
If
do
it
is we
needs to,
do
we can
rambling.
run it, and you can hop in when you want to make a comment.
Oh yeah, maybe can do. We'll see. We'll see how we go. I'll have to see how the hotel's internet is. It's gonna be weird.
Fair enough.
I've never been to TwitchCon before. It's gonna be exciting.
Just don't get molested.
I'm not going to get. Do you really think anybody's going to find me attractive enough to molest? Come on.
Look,
Wait, you are living proof that
last year at TwitchCon.
Fleet, you can find you are living proof in your belief that the Hosh is a beautiful ship that should be revered by everyone. That beauty is in the eye.
Whoa. I think Hosh is a nice looking ship, and I think she's a fairly capable ship. I'm not mad enough to try and say that she should be revered by everybody. Anyway,
Sure.
thank you everybody
Sure,
for
Jane.
coming. Take care,